Oh, those philosophers. It's like a competition, which of them can be more confusing than the other. But you have the chance to have me, the people's philosopher. So welcome to Goxology Part 1. Belief started with thinking. And this was also the first big mistake, to start thinking. Fortunately, even today this does not affect everyone. So practically thinking was the beginning of becoming human. Thousands of years there was simply an ape who had a thought. He thought, huh? Yeah, well, you couldn't expect more at the beginning. After a while, his thinking became more complex and he thought, huh? Or even, and so he invented humor. Jokes invented at these times are still today exploited by Fox News or so. One day, this thinking became so complex that this ape asked, what's the meaning of all this? So practically the invention of philosophy. The thinking ape thought, and due to his thought, he thought, I'm thinking, so I'm no more ape. Even today, this transition from ape to human is very smooth, and proof of this are the multiple broadcasting companies and also YouTube channels producing only content for primates. Somehow, most of today's humans are still stuck with this first question, this huh? Yeah, this question from the ape. So for the next 20 to 30,000 years, the early humans stuck to this question, huh? Without finding a satisfying answer, just until he observed the earth, the sun, the stars, the nature, and thought, someone must have created this. A creator. Yes, a creator. There must be a creator of all this. All others were applauding. Yeah, you got it. Yes, sure, there must be a creator. But who is this creator? To make it easy, let's give him a name. Some proposed to call him Johnny, others tempted more to call him Roger, and after a while they all agreed to call him God. All considering, the idea of a creator isn't that silly, because someone had to have done all this, which is even today for primates the typical proof of God, because nothing can come from nothing. Since this time humans make themselves an image of God and pray to him for assistance, for mercy, for bigger sexual organs. Even there is today not a single proof that one of these prayers has even ever been answered. Praying doesn't help. Maybe in case of sickness it might at least not harm like most medication does. Me as example, I want to live long and therefore I don't go to a doctor. Have you ever noticed in our society, if someone dies, there is always a doctor present. And that's not a coincidence. The most common statistical causes of death here are heart disease, cancer and stroke. Always a doctor present. What is rare? Alone in the nature and receiving a flash or lightning, no doctor there. Or alcohol intoxications. Well, but this is more because doctors are not seldom self-affected. What strokes me the most is that in such essential things like health, people are tempted to believe, to have faith in the most irrational cures. This cures differs from culture to culture, and everyone thinks that his is the best and all others are simply wrong.
Do, three, four, five, is the main one or H?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, these are also acupuncture points.
Yes.
Yes.
One,
Do my.
One,
Yeah.
two, this we.
Shalom. The Jewish tradition believes that people who pray for other people help the people who are ill. In fact, there seems to be some medical evidence that that's correct. We have prayers, set prayers for people who are ill, and I wanted to chant the Hebrew of a traditional prayer for people who are ill. It's something that anybody can do. You don't have to be a rabbi to do it.
Now you see, God paid off his house. God paid off his car. God will do the same for you. He's no respecter of person. Why don't you let me send you the miracle spring water? And I have new instructions. This is new miracle spring water. It's a large packet. And I have new instructions. Don't miss the miracle moment by not following the miracle instruction. You see, God told me to have you drink this water so that it could literally, this anointing could saturate every cell of your being.
There were also other cultures who only gave a shit about being sick because they had hallucinogenic substances like opium, weed, which are not by mistake originary from the region between the Hindu Kush and the Mediterranean Sea, a region we call commonly the Middle East and where is the birthplace of our Western religions. Worldwide, people are drinking, smoking and eating many different of those brain helpers, and afterwards they are speaking about Marian apparitions, about a personal relationship with Jesus, or about God himself commending them killing their children. Well, yes, maybe it's better to lie you the word so beautiful as you can afford it, or otherwise take it as it is and fall into a deep depression. Don't forget that even without taking artificial drugs, we are at every time under influence of our self-produced drugs like dopamine, serotonin. Our whole perception is nothing else than a permanent drug trip. And that's good so. Better a beautiful lie than despairing of the truth. A lie is not always something bad. Sometimes it happens even to me to lie a bit. Honesty is a virtue, but so is politeness. And both very often don't go together. There are questions you never should answer honestly because of politeness. Like, example, do you want to marry this woman or man? in good times and in bad times, until death is separating you? Imagine you answering honestly. Want to? Good and bad times? Or can you give me at least a date when this death should be expected? And what are the costs of this soul? This became the most important question for us humans now. What does it cost? If there is something how we humans try to understand culture and religion, it's over the value, the money. Even the Islamic martyr who blows himself up with a bomb does this in the first place for money. He knows that his family will, after his death, something like a pension from the PLO, Hamas, Al-Qaeda or the Islamic Jihad, from whoever rules at this moment. So he blows him up and the family is happy and he is in paradise because money was involved. Sure, you need also a very strong faith to do this. And this is nearly as important as money. Yes, you have to have an unbelievable belief. I'm only astonished that they don't have any doubt that their belief is so strong. Well, yes, the martyr bomber thinks who doubts don't believe strong enough. And right so. Poof. Yeah. The same is also true for the religious leaders of these suicide bombers. If they really were faithful and strong believers, they would blow themselves up. If really the paradise is waiting at the other side, they never would let the stupid go before them. Yes, the martyr don't know what doubts are, and even this is a problem, because always the people who laid the world in ashes have always doubted too few. Therefore I say, who's doubting doesn't detonate. But those who think having the only truth, those are the worst, and certainly because they also always think being something better than all others. Those who are in possession of the only truth. This is also a basic necessity of us human beings. Feeling more important than others. You always feel good even if you are standing to your belly in shit, if you can look at your neighbor standing to his neck in the shit. You know about this experiment with capuchin monkeys. You give him always a piece of cucumber to reward him, and he's happy because for them cucumber is delicious. Until he sees that another monkey receives a grape for the same work. Grapes are better for capuchins, so he refuses the cucumber, he even throws it at you. You see, it's not about cucumber or grape, it's about the other. And so is it for us humans. Beginning with the cucumber and grape to the Manolo Blahniks, Louis Vuittons and Ferraris. So you see the man standing on the road watching a Ferrari and refusing to drive his cucumber. This is not envy. This is the capuchin monkey in us. Even we know that the only drives a Ferrari because during this time he's occupied and don't have to think about his erectile dysfunctions. How primitive we are. We are so few sublime, or we have so few sublimity. And therefore, when I was a believer, I took it as offense to God to believe being created in His image. An example? Digestion. I don't believe that a creator can have digestion. Or, I don't know. He had to get this idea from somewhere. Maybe the universe doesn't came into be by a sublime creation when he had digestion. Maybe the sentence Big Bang becomes a totally different signification in this case. Yeah, we simply don't know. Maybe God has even hemorrhoids. Do we know? He's omnipotent. And it's His thing to decide to live with or without hemorrhoids. Well, if I was God, I would do without hemorrhoids. But the real question is, when God is all good, why hemorrhoids does exist at all? The same for sweaty feet, or corns, or nail bed infections, or fungus. I don't want to go in detail, but if nails are these big problems, shouldn't God have left them away for good? I leave you today with these thoughts, and I see you next week for the next chapter of Goxology.